Hey everyone, Joe here with the Idaho Prepper channel, and in today's video I'm going to be walking you through all of the gear and supplies that I keep with me inside of my vehicle on a day-to-day basis. So this is gear that is meant to prepare me for a multitude of situations, all the way from a roadside disaster and repair to a medical emergency and even civil unrest. So there is a lot to cover here, so let's get into it. All right, so we'll go ahead and we'll start with the inside of the cab here, and we'll go straight to our center console area. So first thing you'll see is this organizer. I actually just purchased this. It's kind of an aftermarket thing, but just a little tray organizer, and it pops right in there. And as you can see down below, I got some more stuff. So got a couple lighters and a right in the rain pad, but this just fits in here nice and snug, just like that. And in here, I keep this T4 Woobin tactical flashlight. So this is a rechargeable flashlight, really good, handy flashlight. It's got the crenulated bezel, and it's also got this D-ring here with a glass breaker on the front. And then here, I just keep this, I think this is the CRKT knife. So pretty good little knife. And then, of course, I always keep my Spyderco right here. This is actually in my pocket with me right now, but you're going to be taking a look at my EDC, so I thought I'd just go ahead and show you that. But basically what I keep on this organizing tray, just some pens, and then I keep my phone here. So pretty nice. And in here I got different charging ports. So I got an AC charging port, I got a DC cigarette lighter charging port, another one of those, and then a couple of HDMI charging ports as well. So definitely a really nice feature that about this truck I really enjoy. So over here got the cup holder, and then in this big center console is where I keep a lot of my EDC gear. So we'll go ahead and we'll start with my EDC pack, and I did a full review video on this pack and everything I keep in it, but this is my daily EDC extended gear pack. So this is the Bando Bag XL by Eberlestock, and in here I keep some prayers. So I got a rosary book in there along with my rosary, kind of a cool tactical rosary. And then in this pouch here I have this is a micro first aid kit, kind of a boo-boo kit by Helicon. So really cool first aid kit. I just have some basic band-aids in here, some aspirin, Tylenol, some Neosporin, things like that. I carry another Woobin flashlight. This is actually a headlamp. It will actually work as a headlamp. So there's a head strap that goes with this. You can snap it on. But this is a really good, lightweight, rechargeable flashlight. And it's even got a magnet here so I can stick it on the hood of my truck or something if I'm doing repairs on my motor. And it's got a clip right here. And then I have this Gerber multi-tool, so really good multi-tool here, and another right in the rain pad. But usually I'll keep my wallet in here and my phone in here, things like that. Especially when we go to church, I'll usually just pack this full of all that stuff. And then the coolest feature about this pack, and again, I did a full review video on this pack, so I'll make sure to put a link in the description on this pack. But in right here is where I keep my EDC pistol, and this is an M&P shield, chambered in 9mm with an extra mag. And what it is all Velcroed to is an actual ballistic panel by Premier Body Armor. So yes, this is a bulletproof fanny pack, so you can actually wear this across your chest and it will actually offer some protection to your center mass. So really cool pack. So I'll make sure to leave links in the description for this pack and the ballistic panel, along with some discount codes. All right, moving back to the center console here, I keep some pepper spray. This is the OC spray by Palm Industries. So really good OC spray. Very good. You know, it's always important to have a non-lethal means of defense. And then I just keep some basic sunglasses in here. So these are some Spy sunglasses. And then, of course, I always keep an actual physical map of my area. And then we have some hand sanitizer, use this a lot. And then here, I keep some charging cables so I can charge my phone with these. It's a it's kind of like a pigtail charging port, but it's got the HDMI port that plugs into here. And then I have three different ways of charging three different devices. So I have one charging cable for my iPhone, another one for my flashlights, and then the other one I think is for there's probably other devices I don't have, but I basically just use the HDMI-C and then the Apple iOS charging port. And then in here, I just keep some business cards for my business. And then this is where I keep my registration and insurance information right in there. Another right in the rain pad. Can't have too many of those. Got another knife in here. It's a Spyderco Tenacious, so kind of the cheaper Spyderco, but very reliable, good knife. And then just some Sharpies, things like that in there. So that pretty much does it for everything in my center console. All right, moving over to the glove box. In here, I just keep some wet wipes. So usually when the whole family goes out in this truck, the kids will be in the back seat. And so it's probably the thing we're using most when we have the whole family in here and all the kids in here is just wet wipes, cleaning up messes. And then in there, got the owner's manual. And then I keep a bunch of paper towels. Same thing for cleaning up messes when the kids and family are in the car. All right, so we'll go ahead and move to the back of the truck here. And as you can see, I have my get home bag in the back, which we'll be getting to in a minute. And this is just my briefcase for work. And then here is where I keep this Ripaway IFAK. So if I'm having my own medical emergency, I can, easily access this and attend to myself. Or if I come across, a wreck or something on the highway, which has actually happened quite a few times actually in the last 10 years or so, I can just quickly grab this IFAK and tear it away from the back of the headrest. So that is a really nice feature for this IFAK. But inside here, I have tourniquets, I have chest seals, I have a bunch of gauze, I have compression bandages, and then I even have some boo-boo kit related stuff like Band-Aids, tweezers, and that kind of thing. But very, very good IFAK. All right, next thing we're going to be taking a look at is right under our seat. And this is an underseat cargo box. And this is something I just picked up recently, and it is custom made for this specific year, make, and model truck. But I really like it because it allows me to compartmentalize all of my gear. So all of the gear that is in this portion of the box is basically directly behind the driver's seat. And this is all the gear that I think that I would need to make roadside repairs. So if I get a flat tire or something, all the gear that I keep in here is for that. So we have some flares, so I can throw those out real quick. This is extremely important, but this is just a high-vis vest, so I can put this on, if I'm doing a tire change, I can do that. And then the other drivers that are passing can see me, have a real high visual. But definitely highly recommend that you guys have something like this in your vehicles. Other thing we have in here, and this is called an LED flare, but there is a button right here, and this thing basically turns orange. It's just got a bunch of different strobe features like that, and it's magnetic, so you can actually put this on the roof of your vehicle, and it will just really send out a bright orange beacon and allow the passerbys see you. So just a really cool thing to have in here. They do come with batteries, and it has a 50-year battery life. So you can put this on, keep it on your vehicle, and it will flash for, a couple days. So really, really good piece of equipment. Next thing we have in here is some Tundra. This is a fire extinguisher, basically. So always a good idea to have a fire extinguisher in your vehicle. And then we have some gloves, just some basic work gloves. I keep a poncho in here. And then this is my Baofeng GMRS. So I always keep one of these, not only in my bug out bags, get home bags, but even in my vehicles. But they're so cheap, and everybody in my family operates on these in my neighborhood, so I just keep one in all of my vehicles. But they're all pre-programmed and very easy to use. Next thing we have here is a bunch of shells for my truck gun. So I guess I'll show you my truck gun first, but this is just an 870. It's a Remington 870 12 gauge. Now, I don't always keep this shotgun in my truck, but if the times called for it and things were getting high stress, I probably definitely be keeping this shotgun in the back of my truck. But as you can see, this box actually allows to hold either a shotgun or even like a shovel, an axe, something like that. So I just put my shotgun in there, just so you guys could get an idea of how the gear is stored in here. But here I just have some basic shells. So I have some buckshot in here. I got some, and I have some slugs in here. So just a bunch of defensive rounds in this pouch here. Going on to the other side of the back seat here, and in here I have my Baofeng radio. So I actually have an extended rechargeable battery that I can charge from the HDMI-C cord and keep it powered up from the power supply in my truck. And on here I have a 42-inch Abri antenna. This is a foldable antenna, but get really good range with that antenna. And I have this radio pre-programmed to all my local repeaters and emergency frequencies. So basically this just kind of acts as a scanner. So really good idea to keep some type of scanner in your vehicle, so you just keep tabs on whatever emergencies are going on around you. Next thing we have in here are some MREs, and this is the beef stew MRE, really good MRE here. And then we have some meatballs and marinara sauce. So these actually came from that case. I posted that deal on these MREs a while back. I think it's still going on, but you can get a case of these with like a 2025 inspection date for like $70. So really smoking deal. I'll make sure to leave a link in the description for that, but really good idea to keep some non-perishable food in your vehicle like MREs. Next thing we have are just some snacks here. So I got some trail mix. So definitely a good idea, especially if you have kids. So I can always just kind of keep them, keep them fed while they're in here with some snacks. And then definitely water. Very good idea to keep a lot of water with you on hand, especially in the summer months. Like right now, it's like 90 something degrees as I'm filming this video. So definitely make sure to have plenty of water. But this is what this whole under seat system looks like. You can see got my truck gun in here, but it fits really nice in here just like that. Moving to the bed of the truck here, and I have a diamond plate toolbox on the back. So go ahead, open this up, and I'll show you everything I have in here. So this first compartment got some gloves. So if there is a repair I need to make on the side of the road, got some gloves, keep my hands protected. I have a rag here. That way, if I did a repair, my hands are all covered in grease. I can, grab this rag, clean my hands off. And then I have a tape measure for work. And then as you can see, there's these 3 totes in here. And I actually picked these up at Costco, but these are really nice totes. I really like this tactical kind of tan color of these totes. And they were really, really cheap. But the thing I liked about them best is they fit in here perfectly. So I actually went through quite a bunch of different totes that just weren't quite fitting. So I was really lucky to have found these. But go ahead and show you what's in the first one here. And again, the stuff I keep in here, this is behind the driver's side of the vehicle, is just stuff that I have to use immediately. So in this bag here is just a bunch of tie downs and ratchet straps for, tying down lumber and ladders. And then here I have some rope, more, just tying stuff down. Keep some trash bags in here. I have some bungee cords in here, a couple of tow hitch balls. So I have a 1 7/8 inch. That's what I use for my boat, actually, and then a 2-inch for my camper trailer and my utility trailer, which I actually don't have anymore. And then here I keep a Tubbo towels. These are really good heavy duty cleaning wipes. So, especially for painters, these will take off latex paint, but they are citrus based, but really good idea to have a bunch of cleaning rags. All right, moving on to our middle box here. And as you can see, we're actually starting to get a little more civil unrest related. So first thing we have in here is actually this body armor. So these are soft panel body armor by Premier Body Armor, and it's like a t-shirt, and there are panels that go in the front and back of this shirt, and then even on the side. But these are level 3A soft body armor panels, so they will stop all the way up to a 44 Magnum, I believe, but very lightweight. So I can put this on and you wouldn't even know I was wearing body armor. But if I entered a situation, we're driving through a city, maybe a riot starts and we get stuck, it's just a good idea to have a means of protecting yourself from basic firearms. Next thing I have in here is a gas mask. So again, gas masks, I know they're commonly associated with like nuclear war or something, but these gas masks can actually be used. Sorry, it's really hard to do this stuff with one hand filming, but these gas masks can be used for tear gas too. So again, you end up in a situation where there's a riot, big protest taking place, and they're throwing off tear gas and everybody's macing everybody. It's a good idea to have a gas mask. So this is by Mira Safety, and it is a full face gas mask. Sorry, let's see if I can get this out of here. And inside of the gas mask, I keep a full filter. So this is a NBC 77 SOF filter. So this will not only protect you from tear gas, things like that, but also radioactive fallout as well. And then the other thing I keep in this kit are some ThyroSafe potassium iodide tablets, and that will protect your thyroid from radiation. So pretty much everything I need for any type of emergency where the air would become unbreathable. Next thing we have in here is just another basic first aid kit. But in this first aid kit, what makes this kind of unique is I keep the sting medication. So if I get stung by hornets, which I'm very allergic to, I can put these on the wound and it will, basically kind of kill the pain because it has some lidocaine in here, but it also kind of cleans the wound and makes it so I'm not quite as reactive to the sting. But yeah, if I get stung by a hornet, I don't swell up and need like a shot or anything like that, but my hand will definitely swell up. So I keep a bunch of these, on hand to treat any type of sting. And then I have these are the instant cold packs, Band-Aids, Neosporin, gauze, more gauze, got some Tylenol. So like I said, just basic first aid boo-boo kit type stuff. All right, and then, just for redundancy, like I said, just keep as much water with you as possible. So I put 3 more water bottles in here. And then this here is actually a drone. And if you guys ever saw my get home bag video, and I'm going to be going through my get home bag in a minute here, probably be the last thing I go through. But in that video, I talked about how, it might be a good idea to keep a drone with you as part of your get home emergency preparedness plan. Just because, again, if you find yourself, there's a riot breaking out, civil unrest, and you're trying to get home, and maybe you can't get a clear report on, a way to get home, you need to kind of create another route, another safe route to get home. You can potentially put a drone up in the air and get a real-time aerial, reconnaissance of your area and see which areas, you know, are clear of rioters or, you know, just potential threats. So just kind of a theory I had in, you know, in mind, but this is a really good drone by Ruco. It's extremely affordable. It's very easy to use. So make sure to leave a link in the description for this drone, but definitely think it's a good idea to kind of keep a drone in your vehicle, especially if you know, there are riots or any type of civil unrest going on in your area. All right, and the last box here is just all of my roadside emergency gear. So a lot of tools in here. Keep a hammer. Always good to have a hammer. This is actually like kind of a foldable emergency road sign. So I can prop this up in the road and let other vehicles see me. Here we have a rechargeable jumper kit. So just a battery in here. I'm sure you guys are all familiar with these. See if I can open this up with one hand here. But this is, you know, was working for me. I actually just tried to use this. Maybe I didn't have it fully charged, but it wasn't starting my wife's vehicle off. But you know, I don't want it to be a knock to this, because this always started my vehicle up and her vehicle up all the time when our batteries are down. So it is a good unit. It's definitely not the best one you can buy on the market. It's pretty affordable. You can get this one for like $50 or $60, as opposed to, you know, the other ones, which are upwards of $200 to $300. But this will do the job. So it is a good idea to have some way to jumpstart your vehicle other than jumper cables and, you know, relying on somebody else to help you out. So keep one of those with me. All right, in here I keep a bunch of hand tools. Boy, I'm starting to realize why I don't do a lot of videos holding a camera in one hand and trying to do everything with the other. It's very difficult, but it's just a lot of hand tools in here. So got some crescent wrenches in here, got some channel locks. I have Allen wrench, bunch of wrenches. I got a little socket set right here. Obviously got some Gorilla tape and duct tape in here, more gloves, electrical tape. I have one of these meter shut-off valves, so I can shut off gas and water with this tool here. Let's see. Yeah, just a bunch of tools. There are a bunch of zip ties at the bottom here. So pretty much everything I need to make basic repairs on my vehicle. And then on the bottom here, we got some big jumper cables. These are 25-foot jumper cables. I definitely recommend, if you're going to get jumper cables, get, you know, the at least 25 footers, because you never know what kind of situation you're going to be in where you need a jump and maybe somebody can't get that close to you. So get the 25 footers at least. And then here I have a bottle jack for doing tire repairs if I need to swap out my tire. So I keep a proper jack. And then got a little canister of WD-40. Here I got an air horn. And then we have a big toe strap right here. And then the last thing I keep in here, this is actually a Slim Jim. And this is really cool. I've actually had to use this a few times, just locking keys in my vehicle, or maybe somebody else gets locked out. But good idea to have a Slim Jim. And, you know, I'm grateful to be living in a free state where you can actually buy these Slim Jims at your local auto parts store. So I have the Slim Jim, and I actually have all of the shims. I think they're in here. Yeah, so all the shims for open up your door, your window, and getting your Slim Jim in there. So that is pretty much everything that's in this tote. And then the last couple things we have here in this little compartment, just keep another roadside flare, and then just this knife. This is just a full tang, kind of a knockoff EC knife. Got this thing for like $15, but even though it's a knockoff, it's still a good knife. So keep that right there. All right, guys, and last but not least, told you I was going to go through my get home bag. So like I said, I did do a full review video on this bag and everything in it. So if you want to check out that video, I'll make sure to leave a link in the description of this video. But this is the 25-liter tactical bag by Marting Top. It is a 25-liter bag. It is made of 600D material. It has YKK zippers and buckles throughout this bag, and it is a very well thought out, well designed, well compartmentalized bag. And you can get this bag on Amazon for $45. So it's just one of those deals like you come across, you can't pass it up. But like I said, I'm going to kind of go through this real quick. So top pouch here, as you can see, it's got these straps here, so you can put a shamag in here. You put your sweatshirt. If you're on foot, you need to dress down because it's hot. You put your sweatshirt in here, it'll hold it. It's also got this little compartment here. You put a tourniquet in there, some glow sticks, whatever. It's got the Velcro on the outside for morale patches, whatever. But I always designate my top pouches with the Velcro as my med pouches. That way I can put a med pouch on there, and you know, if I'm incapacitated and somebody needs to attend to me medically, they can quickly identify where the medical is and quickly access it. I also have a patch here, the NKDA, which stands for no known drug allergies. So somebody, you know, they need to know that about me. It's right there. But inside of this pouch, just got some basic trauma related stuff. So I got some nitrile gloves in here, got some wet wipes in here. I have a red glow stick in here, I have a compression bandage, trauma shears, tourniquet, and then I keep this Hiking Buddy first aid kit. That way, you know, if I'm on foot, like I probably would be if I was in a get home situation, there is moleskin in here to protect my feet and that sort of thing. So pretty much everything I would need in here. There's also a little boo-boo kit in here as well, but pretty much everything I need medically. In this pouch here, I have a emergency bivy, and this can also actually act as a shelter. So in case I have to stay the night out in the woods for some reason, I can keep myself warm. Also have some wet wipes here for cleaning. These are good too for disinfecting. So if you get hit with mace, pepper spray, something like that, you can use these to kind of clean yourself off. So this pocket here, this first thing is actually a cover for this backpack. So I know I always, you know, a lot of people kind of give me grief for having a really tactical looking get home bag. But, you know, if I was in a situation I didn't want to draw my attention to myself for that reason, I could just throw this cover over this bag, and it just makes it look like a regular blue backpack. So I can instantly kind of go gray man with this pouch right here. Next thing I have in here is just some more OC spray by Palm Industries. Really good OC spray. I have a tactical headlamp, and this is by Streamlight. So really good headlamp right here. I have a water key in here. So if I come across a water spigot on the outside of a commercial building, I have a bunch of different ways of turning on that water and getting water. I have an extra mag for my EDC pistol. I have another multi-tool. This is just a basic Gerber multi-tool. And then I have a Right in the Rain pad. All right, so moving to the side of this pack, you'll see there's pouches here, and these are kind of for like water bottles. You want to put like a 32-ounce Nalgene bottle in here, you can do that, or a regular water bottle. But usually I'll keep my radios in here, but they're in my truck at the moment. But, you know, if I was to take off on foot with this pack, this is where I would store my radios. All right, and real quick, go ahead and I'll show you the front of the pack here. And as you see here, we have a drinking tube, which goes to our water bladder. It's a Condor water bladder. And that way, you know, if you're on foot, you don't want to stop to take a drink, you know, go digging through your bag looking for a canteen, you have this water tube. So just makes it really convenient to stay hydrated while you're on foot. And on our shoulder straps here, you'll notice I have this emergency strobe light. So you press this button here, can't see it because it's bright outside, but this is really important to have. I keep these on the outside of my kids' bug out bags, my wife's bug out bag. So everyone in my family has one of these emergency strobe lights on the outside of the pack. And the reason why I do that is, one, it just basically allows you to have a nice, strong visual if you're in a situation where, you know, you want to be noticed. So for one, if we're a family, we're walking as a team, we want to make sure we have nice, strong visuals on all of us. So these actually are all color coded. So everybody, each member of my family has a different color. And that way, you know, if we're hiking at night, we can just keep a nice, strong visual on each other so we don't get lost. But it's also good if you're hiking down or walking down the side of a busy road or highway. You can put this on the front of your pack, or, you know, flip it to the back of your pack, whichever way the traffic is coming or going. And that way the vehicles that are driving by can see you. That way you don't get hit. But definitely a good idea to keep a strobe emergency light on the outside of your bags, especially your get home bags. And we'll go ahead and we'll open the main compartment here. And in this kit, this is kind of all of my charging cables. So I actually have earpieces for my Baofeng radios. I have an extra battery for my Baofeng radio. I have some more charging cables for charging my flashlights, radios, cell phone, that kind of thing. And then I have this external battery right here for charging my phone. So pretty much everything I need to keep all of my electrical devices functioning and powered up. Got some tactical gloves here with the hardened knuckles for self-defense. Have this dry bag here, and this is actually just full of food and snacks. So see, I'll go ahead and open this up because it's been a while since I've looked in here, but yeah, it just got a bunch of energy stuff. So I have some of this glucose energy drink right here. So really just kind of snacks to kind of keep you energized for, 24 hours to 48 hours. Have some New Millennium energy bar in there. Have some oatmeal. Keep some trail mix in here. Let's see, what else do I have in here? Oh, bone broth, always a good thing to keep in your food kits. Got some jerky snacks. Definitely might want to check the expiration date on that one. And then looks like I have one freeze-dried meal in here. So I have some ReadyWise pasta Alfredo. So definitely enough food in here to keep me going for 72 hours at least. All right, next thing we have in here is this N95 mask. We have a poncho. This is just actually snow camo poncho. So in the wintertime, I can actually drape this over me if I need to achieve some concealment. And it's just kind of a quick, easy way of achieving concealment and even keeping you dry. But this also acts as a shelter too. So I can make a full shelter from this poncho as well. Next thing we have in here is an actual shelter system. So this is a multicam. They don't make these anymore. I've looked for them. I'm sure a company, I don't know, they come and go, but you'll find shelter systems like this. But this is basically like probably like an 8x9, tarp with Mylar on one side and then kind of a waterproof camouflage material on the other. And then in here, I keep some lightweight aluminum stakes and some bank line. So everything that I would need to build the shelter. So for whatever reason, I ended up, getting detoured. I wasn't able to make it home within the time I thought I would, and I had to stay the night. I have the ability to basically have a shelter and stay protected from the elements. All right, in this pouch here, hopefully you guys can see this. I know the lighting's not the greatest, but I just couldn't be in the sun anymore. I was just baking. But next thing we have is this Bugout Laplander folding saw. And, you can use this to procure firewood and make shelters as well. I have some paracord in here. And then I have a full tang knife. And of course, this is a Mora knife, really good Swedish made bush knife, and very, very affordable. I think that's it for that pouch. And then in this top pouch here, I have a map of my area, physical map. We have a compass. I have a fire steel. This is by DEFCON 1 Survival. This is their combat green fire steel. And then, of course, can't have a fire steel without some sawtooth tinder. So always keep some sawtooth tinder. This is great for making fires, not only when there are high winds, but even in the rain. So it's like waterproof fire tinder, like a quarter bead of this stuff will burn for upwards of 3 minutes. So really good fire tinder. And then, of course, I keep a lighter. So lighter with some duct tape wrapped around it. All right, so that's pretty much it for those panels right there. And then in the bottom of our bag, we have a full mess kit, cook kit. So go in this pouch here. And this pouch is by Condor. But in here, we got a bunch of coffees. I have some Zip Fizz. I have this more kind of energy drink, bone broth. And then I even have some honey straws in here. So a bunch of stuff to make different hot drinks. And then on the side, we have this titanium spork. And in this mess kit here, on the top, we have this nesting cup. And in the nesting cup, I have a little sponge for kind of cleaning everything once I've used it to cook with. And then there is like a little condiments pouch that I robbed from an MRE. So there's some matches, some napkins, got some creamer in here for my coffee, salt, sugar, that kind of stuff. And then at the bottom of this is kind of packed in here really tight. I have this Stanley cup canteen thing. I'm sure you guys are kind of familiar with these, but the handle folds out. You can cook with this. It's got a nice little lid, some holes there for steeping tea or whatever. And inside here is a full stove. So got this little micro stove here. And at the bottom, there's even a fuel canister for the stove that fits in here perfectly. So I can set this up. You know, I'm on the road. I can do a quick hot meal, real quick cup of coffee, make some soup, bone broth, something like that. But that's pretty much it for all the gear inside of here. And then the last thing we have in here is this ballistic panel. And this is another panel by Premier Body Armor. And these are specifically designed for backpacks. So if you want to get these, you know, for your kids' backpacks, definitely a good idea for your get home bag. But definitely, in my opinion, it's like no bug out bag is complete without a ballistic panel insert. So really good idea to have. You know, you can wear this basically going through a bad area. You can have the panel in here and then wear your backpack on the front of you like so, and it will offer, you know, protection of your center mass. So really cool panel. And then behind that is this Condor water bladder. So not filled up at the moment, but I can fill this up with all the water bottles that I have, and the drink tube. It comes right out of the top here, like so. And then I can just stay hydrated while I'm walking. I don't have to stop. So that is pretty much all of the gear for this get home bag and all of the gear for my truck. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. You know, if you're interested in any of the gear that you saw in today's video, I'll make sure to leave links in the description. And if you haven't done so already, please make sure to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to my channel. And if you want to see more videos like this in the future, make sure to hit that notification bell. So with that said, until the next time, stay prepared.